the DORK podcast with Rich Keefe. It's the DORK podcast. Keefe Davey. It's the DORK podcast. Hashtag. It's the hashtag DORK podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Dork. My name is Rich Keefe, joined as always by Davey Eyeballs. He is Rick Rude Von Dick Dude. He is Ray Von Day. All hail the king of ginger ale. It's Ryan Davey. Davey, how are you?
I'm good now. Now to see your smiling face once again. While later in the week, it felt like we haven't talked in a long time.
It's been a minute, and I just want to not to start the podcast on a downer, but we did not have a show on Monday, and the reason was my poor sweet little Georgie had RSV, and she was in the hospital from late Saturday night until Tuesday afternoon. And Ryan, let me tell you, the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, when a child is sick and there's nothing you can do, like nothing you can do. I mean, that is the worst feeling in the world.
100%. It's you're helpless. You're so helpless, and you just fucking feel so bad because it's this little baby, and she's got tubes in her nose for oxygen. She's got an IV in her hand, so they have to prick her little hand. She's got like it all wrapped up. She's got like a foot little monitor on there. So when you try to, she's like uncomfortable. So you try to pick her up, and she's just like covered in wires. And you're like, am I going to pull something out? Am I going to hurt her? Am I going to whatever?
Jesus Christ, man.
And so it was so sad. I feel, and my wife is the real hero in this whole situation because so at Saturday night, we're like, oh shit, she's not breathing right. This isn't right. And like we knew she was kind of sick. She had like a cough or whatever.
Right.
But it really got bad Saturday night. And so we're home, and we also have Cece. So we're like, all right, so only my wife went in. So she went to the emergency room. They didn't have a room for the longest time. And then we're like, what do we do? Little kids aren't allowed in. So we had to wait. And then my mom eventually came down. So thanks to her, my in-laws came down the next day. So like I could go to the hospital and then come back. So it was brutal. And I'm sure some of our listeners have gone through it or know people that have gone through it because apparently it's like a problem, like all across the country.
Yes.
The hospital that we were at, it was like full, or it's either like they're full of rooms or they're just understaffed, like nurse wise, and they can only let so many people in. And it was just like, holy shit. Like I'd heard about it, but I didn't really know much about it. And then you get a crash course in it. And
do you feel like that this wearing a mask for the last 2 years, like everyone's immune system is just dog shit right now?
Yeah, I think they were even saying there's something about it like skipped a year for like kids to like get sick and get the normal sickness. So my guess is my daughter, my 3-year-old daughter, probably got sick, but was like, okay, like could fight it off enough.
Right.
And then the baby gets sick. And this is why you can't let babies get sick because you're just like, you don't know what's going to happen. And they don't breathe out of their mouths. They only breathe out of their nose.
You can't explain it to them. You can't explain what's going on. They're crying.
Oh, and then like you're just staring at a monitor for 3 straight days, trying to make sure the numbers are like the right numbers. Like you gotta drive yourself crazy doing that.
Go nuts doing that. But you're right. There's always one parent that kind of snaps into it. That's just kind of like, I got this. Yeah, which is great. It's great to have a partner like that. And luckily, both of us do.
Thank God. Yeah, thank God for that. So anyway, that's that story. But the update is home Tuesday afternoon. Had a good day yesterday. Had a pretty good day today. Still, got the cough. They say that's going to linger. Still a little congested, but it was like, what a relief to get her home. And so, knock on wood, things are good right now.
Now I can just go back to not sleeping.
Yeah.
Normal not sleeping, which is great.
Which is just do baby stuff. Just do your regular baby stuff.
It'd be happy for you to wake me up because you shit yourself at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right. So this is basically, we normally do podcasts on Monday nights. And if we don't, it either means, the Patriots are playing on Monday or my poor kid's in the hospital. Those are the reasons why we move the podcast.
Or I mean, we might run into it next week too, because if you look behind me, there's nothing. If you're watching the YouTube right now, there's nothing behind me. I'm actually in the middle of another move, believe it or not.
Nobody moves more than
I swear to God, nobody moves more than me. But at the same time, this is just across campus. So this is not like I'm not moving schools, I'm not moving jobs, I'm not moving states. I'm just going across the street.
So, you're still you're very much in the same town, same schools, not that far. We got to come up with another nickname, and I don't want to just call you U-Haul because I feel like they should spend some money for us to call you U-Haul, but they should a moving name that we can tag on to you.
Oh, the worst. I could tell. We could have a whole podcast of me just telling moving stories too, and just working as a mover and moving myself.
Yeah.
Give you a good one.
If Dork goes south, we can just turn it into a moving podcast.
Just a moving podcast for sure. If we run out, if the DC EU ceases to exist,
you lift with your legs.
You certainly do.
Yeah,
you certainly do. Yeah,
it's an important thing. All right, let's get to some more enjoyable stuff, right?
This week in Dork. Yeah.
So this week, before we start, Brad in the chat said, "Is Davey ... sunburned?" No, I just don't have the normal lighting that I would normally have. I don't have my normal setup because most of my shit's packed. So what you're seeing off of my face right now is just computer screen. And just, I know I look red because I don't have my usual light that comes down from here. So I look like dog shit.
Screen blotched right in the face.
Yep.
All right. Since our last episode, we got a release date for The Last of Us, the HBO series based on one of the greatest video games ever made. January 15th. So just 2 months away.
Yeah, just not soon enough. I want this show now. I needed this to fill the gap between House of the Dragon and whatever's next. So like this needed to come right after House of the Dragon. We didn't get it.
No.
It is what it is.
So somebody had a good between January and then like March, there's going to be a time where Pedro Pascal is going to be in this, and then this and The Mandalorian are going to overlap for a little bit, and then The Mandalorian. So like for 3 months, Pedro Pascal is going to dominate television.
He's in another movie too, I think.
Probably. Yeah, the guy's great. The guy's an absolute stud. The Sandman, we did our part. We did an episode of Sandman urging people to watch it and to get a season 2. And thanks to us, it is in fact getting a season 2.
Can't wait. I'm so excited for this. And this is one of those things, like there's so much source material to pull from. Like I'm wondering what they're going to do with it. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see what they do.
The first season was so well done. You can go check out our episode on that in the archives.
Yes, there's one episode in particular, the one with, I forget the guy's name, who lived forever. That episode might be my favorite, one of my favorite episodes of television this year.
Yeah.
I forget the guy's name, but that was...
I'll tell you, that would be a deep for the dorkies. That would be a rough one. Would
best
be
single, and the one shot of the bear, like that episode was crazy.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Oh, that might be my favorite actually right now. For one episode of television. So it might not be the best show, but it's the best single episode.
Yes.
Better Call Saul had a couple nominees, but anyway, this is a little interesting. This is sort of more rumor and sort of you're reading what's going on here, but we know that James Gunn is taking over DC. We also know that Jason Momoa played Aquaman. He also is apparently a huge Lobo fan, loves the character Lobo, and there's been some teasing and Lobo's going to get introduced into the DC world, and Momoa's like all freaking out about it. He says he owns every comic ever written with Lobo in it, which is a wild little thing. And what are your thoughts? Do you think Momoa is going to end up playing Lobo? And if so, are you okay with him double dipping as Aquaman and Lobo?
As long as it's okay, and as long as there's like, if it depends on what, like we've said all the time, like we trust the Russo brothers, we trust Kevin Feige, we trust Dave Filoni. Yep. Like I feel like that now has to go to James Gunn. Like whatever James Gunn. So James Gunn posted this on Mastodon, which is like a news. It's not new, but it's like a social media site that's kind of getting ground now with Elon Musk buying Twitter and all that stuff. So he said it on Mastodon. He's like, "What's up, Mastodon?" and put a picture of Lobo. Right. And then Jason Momoa posted something else like referring to that. Now, I'm totally fine with this.
Yeah, he was also asked about it, and he was just like, he got all giddy. He obviously wouldn't confirm that he's Lobo, but he was like, well, it's not that hard. You can look up like, who my favorite character is or whatever. And so it's Lobo. Like he loves Lobo.
If not, I posted something about it today. Like, if not, would you be cool with like Roman Reigns could pull that off too?
Oh, probably. Yeah,
right? I doesn't have to act a ton.
I don't. Yeah, it is. It's like, what would you say? 80% look when it comes to
80% look and just like a big hook on a chain and a sawed-off shotgun.
Yeah, he's got cool weapons.
Yeah,
he's got cool weapons. According to Wikipedia, Lobo was Stan Lee's favorite DC character.
Really?
I don't know where they pulled that from, if that's even true, but that's what it says there. But yeah, I'd be into that. Plus, depending on how they end up like resetting DC, maybe Momoa doesn't have to be Aquaman anymore, and somebody else can be Aquaman.
Yeah, and so maybe with the Flashpoint movie, you just Days of Future Past it and just kick it wide open.
The DCEU's in a good spot based on.
Sure is.
Well, at least they got James Gunn in charge.
Yes, they are. They
do have that going on. Oh, speaking of potential casting, so Gears of War, which is one of my favorite video games of all time for Xbox, there's a whole bunch of sequels of it. It's one of the first like real online multiplayer games I remember really sinking my teeth into. And Netflix is going to make a movie. And so fans were like, oh, like you got to get Dave Bautista, you got to get like John Cena, you got like all these big like dudes to play like Phoenix and Baird and Dominic and Coltrane, all those guys. Like you got to just get jacked. It's basically gonna be like the cast of Predator, essentially.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's what it is. And so Dave Bautista tweeted out a video to them of like him dressed as like Marcus Phoenix with the stuff. And it's like, yeah, just make it better be him.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Like that's the perfect casting to do it too.
And he's like a good actor.
And it's a great story. Like I remember playing through that game and just being like amazed. And they get like you, that was one of the very first games that I was like really into, like on that and like Halo, like at the same time. Like I remember playing those two games and being way better at Gears of War. But that would be one of the best. Remember the original trailer with the Mad World?
Yes, Gary Jules.
Oh, what an amazing trailer that was.
16 years ago today, it came out.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. Well, or yesterday, whenever I read I don't know if the tweet was old that I saw, but yeah, 16 years ago.
That makes sense.
Recently. I was like, holy shit. So that makes sense because I think it was right after I got out of college. I was like 22. And man, did I play that game a ton.
Sure did.
And it was like teams of four. Was it teams of four? Yeah.
4 or 5. Yeah, 4. It was 4.
Oh my God. What a great game. And
not too many good enough like cover based shooters anymore.
Yeah.
Because that was the big mechanic. You could like get in cover and like shoot like over the top.
Yep.
Which was great.
And don't sleep on the single player on that.
Excellent. No, like I said, the story of that game was awesome. One of the ones I was like first like locked into in that story.
Yeah. And the cutscenes, everything else, and like different weapons, and just having the chainsaw on the gun.
Yeah, man.
There's some blood stuff. Speaking of blood stuff, the next Scream movie is coming out March 10th, 2023. What should the title be? Because this is the direct sequel to Scream, but it's the second just Scream. Everybody else calls it Scream 5. What should the hell they call this one?
See, for me, I say we go with our original idea, where we do it from the perspective of the killer or killers and call it Ghostface.
I agree with that. Because otherwise, you're running into the same issue that the Halloween franchise did, and they just ended up tagging on words. They're like, Halloween kills, Halloween ends. Because you can't call this one Scream 2, because that'd be asinine. But I don't know if you can call it Scream 6, considering there wasn't a Scream 5. They've really kind of backed themselves into a corner. So it's either going to be Ghostface, I think is perfect, or you have to have something with Woodsboro or something, whatever. But yeah, March 10th, and the lead actress Jenna Ortega said it's very gory.
Well, I remember the last one too. There weren't a ton of kills, right? There was some like slashing of like ankles and stuff, but there wasn't really much.
Oh, it was bloody. No, it was a bloodbath.
Was it?
Yeah, the last one was a bloodbath.
I don't remember it that way.
Scream 3 was the one that they like pulled the blood away, and it wasn't that gory. The last Scream was pretty hefty. Yeah.
I've seen some pretty gory movies recently, so
no,
in my mind, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't Terrifier.
It was not Terrifier. No.
Yeah.
No, it was not Terrifier, but there was some intense stuff for sure.
Yeah.
They could call it 2 cream, 3 creamers. Yeah.
2 creams, 1 cup.
2 creams, 1 cup. Yep. Coffee, a lot of cream.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
On iced coffee, all cream. Like, what? How much cream can you give me?
Yeah.
Like, what? That's not. Is that your question?
It's like that in was it in The Office when there's like Pam asked Michael if he has any coffee, and he's like, milk and sugar, and he hands it back, and she's like, is this just milk and sugar? He's like, yeah. Drink it every day. Yep.
It's the best. Avatar: The Way of Water trailer. We got another one of these. And December 16th. We're just over a month away from Avatar: The Way of Water. And I don't mean to just pile on. I feel like this is kind of like, it's almost like punching down. But I don't give a rat's egg. I don't care. I don't care about this.
I do not give a flying fuck about Avatar.
God. But
I
you know,
don't. I really don't.
but will it make the most money of movies just this year?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
How'd the last one make all the money?
Because it was like at the time, it was like the most advanced thing, and it was like, in 3D, and it was IMAX, it was like all this stuff. And then it's been so long that everyone's caught up to him now. I don't think like visually stunning, great, but like there's no story there.
No, there's nothing. Well, he would argue. So James Cameron also add him to the long list of bozos. It's like, the Marvel movies don't know how to tell a story. They don't know how to make you feel. You're like, dude, tell that to the girl that was crying during Infinity War when Spider-Man got poofed.
Or tell that, to speed that don't know how to connect a story. You just did Fern Gully or Pocahontas. Like you just told that story.
He did live action Fern Gully.
Yeah.
Fern Gully, the original, though, pretty good film.
It sure is, but it's the same goddamn thing.
Oh, speaking of kids movies that are great for grown-ups, did you see that there's going to be the Muppets Christmas Carol extended cut, including a song that was cut from the original, coming to Disney Plus early December?
Well, I tell you, Michael Caine can't sing a lick.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
The movie's great. He can't sing.
He puts on a hell of a performance, though, in that whole film.
Oh, yeah, because I remember reading about it. Were you telling me about it? Where he was like, he played it straight the whole time?
The whole time. He played it completely. He's only talking to Muppets the whole movie. Oh, no, that's not true. There's like his son is in it too. But like for the most part, like he's talking to Kermit. Then like the Marley brothers or Statler and Waldorf. All of the different ghosts that come and visit him are all Muppets. Like all he's talking to is Muppets.
He didn't ham it up. He was just like Michael Caine the whole movie.
Michael Caine. And it works.
It works.
It works.
I know you're excited. I know that's your favorite Christmas movie. So I
can't wait. My favorite movie is actually the Muppet Family Christmas, which shout out to whoever uploaded it on YouTube and they did the 4K.
They up-resed it? Yeah.
Yes. Because I have the old VHS and I'm like, well, what the fuck? Where do I play this? Where then you should go to YouTube and I watch it every year. And my daughter loved it because last year she was into Sesame Street and then like there's also Sesame in this, and then that was the perfect bridge to Muppets. And now we watch the fucking Jason Segel Muppets movie like once a week at least.
What a wonderful little movie that is, by the way.
He loves it. Loves it.
Yeah.
I'm like, very good. I like it too. Very good. All right, Ron, let's get to this because this is a very special edition of the DVGM.
It's time for Davey's video game minute, even if it takes more than a minute.
All right.
We might need to change this to like Davey's video game dissection and analysis.
All right. Well, I'll ask Marcus to update the
so that it becomes DVDA.
Oh, DVDA. You know, I'm the only one doing DVDA anymore. Anyway. You shut your mic off. No, you muted yourself. What? You still muted yourself. I can't hear you. It says mute on the screen. If you're talking, I can't hear you.
God damn it. All right. Anyway, so
you're talking the whole time.
I got excited and I hit the mic and unplugged it. See, all my stuff is not the way it's. There used to be an order here. Now I just don't know. Anyway,
it has to do with the connection. It has to be the connection because my shit's fine.
No, it's bad. Anyway, I have played about 6 hours of God of War. Now I tweeted this out, and this bears repeating because this is so awesome to me. There was, as you know, there was a complete lunar eclipse on Tuesday. Did you know this?
Yes. Oh, of course I did.
And it was a blood moon.
Oh, it's the best kind of moon.
Which is the best kind, right? And so
blood.
In Norse mythology, that is when Ragnarok begins after a total lunar eclipse. And so they released it the next day. And so remember it got pushed back. Like they did this on purpose. And it's awesome.
Or even the Romans and Greeks.
It's awesome. So like I have started playing this game and they have improved every single thing in this game. So like the graphics, way better. Combat, way better. Characters, way better. I've actually met some new characters, some old characters. Did you play the first one?
I did. The first one, a long time ago, right?
Yeah. So like so Brock and Sindri, the two dwarves, are back and they're kicking ass. They're great. Atreus is a little older now. I'm not going to get into any spoilers or anything like that. Kratos is, still doing his brooding father thing, which is awesome. And I've met Thor.
Wow.
I've met the Allfather. I've met Tyr. All these and Ratatasker I saw today. Ratatasker is the squirrel that mines the world tree. And he's a cool little character.
Little squirrel, little guy.
Little squirrel, got a little eye patch on him. He's a little, he jumps in people's laps and talks to him. Gets a little familiar with people. Okay. But I am here to tell you right now that it is November 10th, 2022. This is by far the best game I have played this year. It's not close. I mean, there's some good games that I played. When we do the Dorkies, next month we'll do all of this stuff. But I got to tell you, in terms of just, it's a masterclass of gaming. And if you've read any of the reviews, that I'm it's not just me. Everyone who's ever picked up a video game. And again, this is to buck, what people, this trend of single player games are dead. Absolutely not. This is the best. These are the best single player games I've played in a very, very long time.
Is this available on PS4?
It is.
It is.
It is.
Laser beam! It's better than fireballs, you pussy!
Laser beams?
6 out of 6.
Laser beams. Way better than fireballs.
6 out of 6. Way better than fireballs. Way better than fireballs. So if you have the means, and again, I don't know what the load times or the graphics are going to be on a 4, but it's almost worth it.
Maybe I just put $1 a day aside.
Put it away.
Get my 500, get my PS5 at some point somehow. Then another $1 a day. Next thing I know, 6 days later,
do we bring back the Spite Bucks crew?
No, because don't send me Spite Bucks, because if you send me Spite Bucks, I'm just going to sit there with it because I can't actively buy a PlayStation.
That's the issue. It's not that you don't have the money. It's that you cannot bring yourself to treat yourself to something that's over $100.
Well, that's partially true, but no, where do I even get a PlayStation? So they're not if somebody wants to send me a Spite PS5, I'll take that.
No, I think they're back in stock now.
They're in stores?
Oh yeah.
Like what? Like Caldor?
Yeah, or like Ames. You can get one there.
I was at Circuit City yesterday. Upkiss.
Yeah. I was digging through the stacks at Strawberries.
Nothing there.
Nothing there.
I think my sister worked at that one for a little bit. Was it Strawberries for a little bit? She worked at one of those. Able to get.
Remember how bummed out I was that they wouldn't hire me at Newberry Comics?
Yeah, that was a shame.
I was so bummed out.
That was a real shame because the discount alone would have made up for it.
Spending so much money there anyway. That's all. I wanted to work there for the discount, and I saw and read High Fidelity too many times, and just wanted to work in a record store. Still do. I think if I won that Powerball, I think I would just open a record store.
It's pretty cool. It'd be pretty nice.
Yeah,
and you just chop it up.
Just shoot the shit like music all the time. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Rack, do you mind if I do a shout out? It's a podcast. We can do shout outs, right?
Let's do one.
Joshua in the chat started his own business and he sent us some merch. First City Meats. So he sent us some hats. He sent us some shirts. Look at this bad boy. Is that on the camera there?
There it is.
Look at that. So I got a long sleeve tee. I got a short sleeve tee. So whatever one you want, it's yours. I'll take the other one, and I got a hat for you as well. From Joshua
I don't really like hats.
I know. They don't wear a lot of hats.
I don't wear a lot of hats. I don't know. I'm not a hat guy.
But thanks.
Thank you very much. That's awesome. Thank you very much. And how about some meats? What are you doing for meats there?
Not to get greedy, but
not to get greedy. But just give us a website or something.
Yeah. Send us some meats.
Yeah.
How about this? I'll give you a website. firstcitymeats.com. There you go.
I'm going. CalicoCutPants.com. You got to give.
You gotta give.
firstcitymeats.com. I'm going there right after this.
Take some meats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I won all that fantasy football money I'm winning this year.
Oh my God. Davey's team is a wagon. Not to jinx it, but in the long running Gentlemen's Club Fantasy Football League, which is closing on its 20th year or whatever. Davey's 9-0.
9-0.
9-0. We've never seen it before. We've never seen an undefeated team. I was trying to look back. because now it's a 14-week fantasy regular season. It used to be a 13-week regular season.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bunch of 10-3s, and I think there might have been one 11-2. So nobody's gone undefeated, and nobody's even had one loss.
I'm making a run. I'm making a run this year. I feel good about it. Yeah,
you're making a push. Yeah, Josh was in the chat today. So opening soon, right? But you can go on there. You can go onto the website and check it out and see what you need.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna order some meats.
Very good.
Josh. Yeah.
You can't stop me.
Can't stop me from ordering meats.
meats.
I'm silly with it. Women be shopping.
Oh, I'm getting these meats. I'm getting these goddamn
But
meats.
so to put a button on it, Davey's Video Game Minute. If you're not playing God of War right now, this is a game that you actually buy a console for this.
Get off your butthole and
Holy
get
smokes.
this game. Yeah.
Holy smokes. It's
You
so
gonna stream
good.
this game ever? I know you're moving, so maybe not. But you gonna stream it?
I might, yeah. So I'm in the process of a move. We might bring this once things kind of settle down. I might bring the stream back. I mean, I got this new little amp too. That's like a practice amp, but this thing's fucking awesome, and it bumps. It's like this big, but it just absolutely slams. So I might, do a little guitaring, do a little gaming.
That sounds more like a stream cream.
Walk through some photo editing because I do a lot of photo editing now. I can show you kind of what I'm up to there. It's a lot of fun stuff. A lot of fun stuff. Ask me about it. Yeah,
I need a new headshot, and or not even a new one. I need a headshot,
dude. I make you look dope.
That's what I need because I've got some real bad pictures of me out there on the internet.
It's about whoever's taking them. Are they really short,
dude? I don't know.
Are they like sitting down? It's a bad angle.
I have bad angle, and every time, and then like they pop up on the thing, and my wife's like, "What are these?" I'm like, "I don't know. I guess that's what I look like."
Shoot
that is not what you look like.
They shoot everyone in the station like up. Like you're supposed to shoot portraits like kind of down, and they shoot you like up, so everyone's got like that double chin, just the way they're shooting you.
Oh yeah,
but that's just how that camera angle goes. It's not you.
I think he was wearing an Egger suit. Sugar. There was one lady, I swear to God, we were at some like event that we were doing, and she saw like the picture ahead of time of like the show, and then she saw me in person, and she literally like gasped. She was like, "Oh," she's like, "we saw like a photo of you like online, and you don't look the same." I was like,
"You do not."
I guess that's a compliment. Thanks.
Yeah, and I can say I'm confident enough to tell you are much more handsome in person than the studio photos give you credit for.
That's all right. I'm gonna clip that.
Clip it. I don't care. I'll go to my grave.
That's a very kind thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I also, and then maybe we could do a twofer, and maybe you could do some holiday shots with me and the family.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that'd be make a day of it.
Love it. Make a day of it. Yep.
All right, let's oh no, this is what we're gonna do. We're flying today. So let's get to this.
Y'all ready for biz?
Topic du jour time, Ryan.
So
I'm glad you asked. It's the topic of the day. And today it is Black Adam, the 12th movie in the DCEU, if you count two different versions of the Justice League, which I do.
Those are two completely different movies.
Yes, for sure they are.
Yeah.
In fact, one of them is about 3 movies worth of time, but still, those are two different movies. So therefore, this would be the 12th movie, a dirty dozen DCEU movies. It was a 2-hour and 5-minute film on Roddy T's right now, 39% critics, 89% audience. Also a movie that was like 20 years in development. No, probably like 13 years in development from when they like kind of announced it to the whole process. So we start as we always do with our movie and TV reviews, spoiler free. Black Adam. Ryan, did you like it?
No, but had this movie come out 15 years ago, it would have been great.
I had a similar thought actually. As I was watching, I'm like, man, this would have kicked the balls off of all of like the early 2000, like even into 2010 movies. Because if again, we all love the MCU right now, but if you go back to the first like 5 movies of the MCU, like besides Iron Man, they're all kind of like, I think I liked it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, yeah, but like I don't know. It was so hyped up, and the way that Dwayne Johnson kind of promoted this thing was it like, oh, it's really going to turn everything on its head. Didn't.
Yeah, he's like, the DC universe is on notice. You're like, is it though?
Not really.
Is it though? Because I love The Rock. Like nobody's more charismatic than The Rock. There's no reason not to like The Rock.
Here's the thing. Yes, and right?
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But somehow this movie managed to make him uncharismatic unlikable. Like he just spoke monotone the entire time.
Yeah.
Like one word things, like his whole charisma, like the thing that makes him like The Rock, like this big personality, was just not there.
It was shocking. Like that was the biggest shock of the whole thing. Because I actually went in with like, I wasn't expecting the greatest movie in the world, but I was actually excited to see it. I was like, there's been so much hype around it. It's a cool idea of a character because I love the vigilante anti-hero type characters. Like I always go towards like Red Hood, Punisher, those kind of guys, Deadpool, than I would squeaky clean characters. So I'm like, all right, Black Adam, love it. Let's go. Let's see what he can do. Nothing really there. And you're taking like such a cool person, and he's been great in a lot of other movies, and it's almost like he might have been better off without a script. Like just let him ad lib, let him be The Rock more. Like because things like Deadpool, I know Deadpool in the comics is written sort of like what we're seeing on the screen, but it's also very much Ryan Reynolds, who's an extremely likable, funny guy, and like there's a lot of overlap there. Whereas The Rock really felt like, I don't know, like I thought he'd be more comfortable in the role than he was. It didn't seem like he was really all that comfortable with it.
Well, it was funny too because like all the physicality that like he brings to these things, he didn't really see him do it because literally, Rich, and if you watch the movie, his feet never touch the ground.
A lot of flying. Got flies.
Well, even when he's just standing there talking to people, he's doing that thing where he's kind of hovering and he's got like 1 foot high and one not. He's never touching the ground.
Yeah, it's not great. Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing in the world. Like, why would you just have him just floating the whole time?
It's like a what's the game? The fighting game, the DC game, the fucking
Injustice.
Injustice. It's like Injustice. Like, some of those characters are just like floating.
Just like floating.
Yeah, like the whole time.
That's what he was doing the whole time. It was maddening to me.
The other thing about this is it was just an incredible like cookie cutter version of a
I wrote
movie.
the 2 words I wrote in my copious notes to start. So I was like, du jour, and I have this whole thing. First of all, I wrote, it would have been an hour if you took out all the slow motion. So much slow motion.
Had a little Zack Snyder effect to it.
So much slow motion.
Yep.
And then I wrote corny, tired.
Corny, tired.
Just corny and tired. That's
I
all
thought
that
was.
was.
I agree. Yeah, tired's a good one. I was thinking like paint by numbers. I was like, you're gonna take a character and not. This is still non-spoiler, but you're gonna show some of like the early version of this character, and then like what they had to overcome, what they had to go through. Then like here's the conflict here, like the generic action scenes. Here's the conclusion. You're like,
and here's the tragic backstory that gives them their motivation.
Yeah.
And here are 4 minor DC characters who are also wildly unlikable.
So, well, yeah, I would say like 50-50 on that. I didn't dislike all of them. And I thought that was actually, without those characters, I feel like the movie would have been even worse. Like, I think they
it would have been terrible. Would have been
really bad.
Yeah.
There was like, as far as the Easter eggs and connections to the rest of the DC EU, like the DC EU is so fractured now that it's like, I don't even know. Like it's clearly in that, but what is even that anymore?
But even there was a lot of like Shazam pulls too, but like Shazam came out so long ago, like 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, that's a long time ago.
In terms of like people with short-term like attention span issues, like that's a long time.
Yeah, you got that straight. So the story again, very generic. The action, do you think the action was anything special? I feel like there was one kind of cool scene.
There was one kind of cool scene, but then I bet we're talking about the same one, but at this like it's just
wasn't
I've seen it before.
Yeah.
Even with like Atom Smasher, like I've seen enough Ant-Man to like it doesn't impress me anymore.
No. In the words of the great Shania Twain, that don't impress me much.
Impress me much.
So
you're Brad Pitt.
Like I said, there's 12 DCEU movies. I have it 6th. I have it like smack dab in the middle.
I would say 6 or 7.
So this is my order, and I know I get a little flack for the back end of this, but The Suicide Squad, I have it 1. Snyder's Justice League, I have 2. I have Birds of Prey 3. I know that's high for a lot of people. Then I have Shazam 4, Wonder Woman 5, then this, and then Aquaman. But you could probably flip Aquaman in this.
And I would, so for me, like I would flip. I would put Birds of Prey after Wonder Woman.
Yep. Yeah.
And then have those two, but like flip those two.
But this is clearly like in the middle. Like it's better than the shit ones, but it's not as good as the good ones.
And there are some dumps.
Because then, like, I don't like Man of Steel, so I have like Man of Steel at the bottom with like Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman 1984, the first Suicide Squad, and the Joss Whedon Justice League are all like at the bottom. But yeah, it's kind of like
Justice League.
Justice League, which was trash.
Yeah,
but yeah, so it's kind of it was just disappointing in that part. Like I didn't expect it to change the world. I didn't think this was going to be on par with like Deadpool or Logan or anything like that. But even then, it kind of left you wanting a little bit more. Would you call it a must see? And again, speaking to not, obviously like people who don't like comic book movies aren't going to go. But for people who listen to this who haven't seen it yet, would you say it's a theater movie?
no.
Yeah, you can.
I was actually pissed that I had to see it in the theater.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. What's your dork score?
3.
I'm going to go 3.5. And again, that's probably it's recency bias, I guess. And it's more likely to fall to a 3 than jump up to a 4, like as we talk about it. But I'm going to go 3.5. There was at least a couple of things I liked in it. But yeah, I bet there's a lot of 3s. Hit us up if you're in the chat right now and you've seen Black Adam. I assume you have if you're watching this. What was your score? What was your dork score for Black Adam? Hit us up with it.
3, 2, 1. Do it.
3, 2, 1. Tell us. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was kind of in the middle? And like we've said before, right? One of the more damning things you can say, like a 3 or a 4 movie is just kind of like, God damn it. Whereas like 5 or 6 is amazing. Then 1 or 2.
And 1 or 2 is like, this sucks. Like, you're mad about it. Or like it's so bad that you're like, you want to talk about it forever. Like this is just one of those like,
yeah, that was, I would say like the action scene specifically, like kind of forgettable. Like this movie in the long run is going to be more known for the hype and the buildup that The Rock had for it and the promotion for the movie than it is the actual movie.
Do you which action scene are you speaking of?
Want to get to spoilers?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's get to spoilers.
Spoilers! 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 Here come the spoilers!
All right. Well, I was talking about like the sort of like the end of the whole thing and the buildup when the Rock or Black Adam finally like comes back into the fray, and then he gets what is essentially the villain of it, and then just like splits him in half.
That was pretty cool. But I like the scene where he was coming out of the cave and wiped out like an entire army.
Oh yeah.
With like, you know what I mean? Like he was.
Yep.
Yeah. I
thought
that was pretty cool.
By the way, a few 3.5s, a 4. So yeah, I think everybody's kind of on par with us. 3, 3.5, 4. I'd be surprised if anybody has it higher than a 4, to be honest. But again, if you like it, I hope you like it. Great. Like I'm not going to tell you not to like it. I just didn't think it was all that great. Here's the biggest surprise to me: the best character in the movie was not Black Adam.
It was not Black Adam, and I think
that's shocking.
My favorite character, like when you're best.
Yeah, who is your favorite character? Because I have one that stands out to me that was my favorite.
We're in spoilers now, right?
Yes.
Henry Cavill, Superman.
Yeah, good use of Henry Cavill. Mid credits, post credits. Yeah, I should have mentioned that in the non-spoiler. But yeah, mid credits, post credits. He pops down. They need to talk. You get Amanda Waller sprinkled in there. You also get Harcourt is in there, who was in the Suicide Squad, and she was in Peacemaker. She pops in there. So
but she's like, she's like in a weird, like that's not her. Like that character that you met, she's in like this weird like Carrie-Anne Moss Matrix outfit, and you're like, that's not Harcourt. Like that's not.
I'm glad. Yeah, you're right. I'm glad you mentioned that. Like it was her, and I'm like, oh, I usually like love her. Like I thought she was awesome in Peacemaker.
She's great.
And then you see her, and she like, I'm like that. She wouldn't say that, or like it was off-putting.
But the other character that I did like was Dr. Fate.
No, that was mine. That was mine. 100% my favorite character. And as I'm watching the movie, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I don't need a Black Adam 2, but what I would like is a Dr. Fate movie.
Yeah.
Like give me a full-on Dr. Fate movie. Now, obviously, it would have to be like a prequel to this. Like unless you're, because he gone. But if you kind of reset the DC world or whatever, but because they did it enough in like trying to establish a relationship with Hawkman, who by the way was a real disappointment.
And not only that, but that character was every character other than Dr. Fate was incredibly unlikable.
Yeah.
And like for me, like just running down the list, like I know we're getting to best parts, worst parts a little early,
No,
but
whatever.
like
We jump around.
the kid, the
Kid was
fucking skateboard lad,
Kid
he
was a killer.
sucked. He sucked. Like that kid, I hated every time he was on the screen.
Kid was a killer. There was no real villain. Like the guy who was the villain, like what's his name? I don't know. That's a problem. When you don't know the real villain, sure. Because at first you're like, oh, like Black Adam, like he's kind of both. And also, by the way, like his main thing was just like grabbing people flying up really high and dropping them. Like that was like his only thing.
Like that was his, or like punching him really hard into the sky.
Great.
Like,
so
great. Or lightning. But like,
so there's like a little bit of Justice Society versus Black Adam, but like Black Adam's not the true villain. And then once they find this other dude to be like their villain, you're like, all right, fine. But so I didn't like the villain. I didn't like the kid. I didn't like
but like Hawkman, like every decision he made, you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like why do you keep trying to fight this guy? Like everyone's like, don't fight him, and he keeps trying to fight him. And then there was this one line, he was like, this is so fucking stupid. He's driving this like plane, like basically like his X-Men plane, like the Blackbird. And they're like, oh, this is made of nth metal. It's basically indestructible. And the very first thing that hits it takes it down.
That was like in Wonder Woman 1984, remember?
Yeah.
Like, this is the greatest suit of all time. And then it just
breaks
immediately.
Yeah.
But I like that actor, Aldous Hodge, who was Voodoo in Friday Night Lights, and he was MC Ren and Straight Outta Compton. Like, I like him. And Hawkman's an underused character, like in DC movies. I'm like, all right, let's see Hawkman. Stunk. Like, he was trying to be like Captain America, Iron Man, Falcon, like all together and
all together.
Like,
yeah, it didn't work.
Adam Smasher was nothing. I didn't mind Cyclone. I thought there could have been maybe a little bit more with Cyclone.
Do you know what drove me nuts? If you go back and watch it, I don't think you will. I don't think anybody will watch this movie more than once.
Yeah.
Watch Adam Smasher take his mask off and put it on. It is the most like wildly inaccurate CGI thing I've ever seen. Because it usually with like a tight mask, you'll have to like pull it down. He just like whips it on and whips it off.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work.
No.
It's so stupid.
No, but I'm telling you, Dr. Fate, and I agree with Brad in the chat. Like, if Dr. Fate wasn't in this movie, like I would probably take a whole stone off of my score. I thought he was good. Like, I mean, you wanted to learn more about him. I think, unfortunately, on screen, he and Hawkman were like supposed to have this like really good like relationship, but like it didn't come across.
No, and it felt like he was annoying. Yeah.
But because I'm not even like a huge Pierce Brosnan guy, but I thought he crushed it in this. I'm like, the fucking helmet, he looked like $1 million.
Sure did.
Like the suit and everything else. That's also like reminded me of Injustice, because it's another character that they have in Injustice. But he was at least intriguing. His powers are really interesting, and a character that we haven't seen yet. So I'm like, all right, they're using a guy. There might be something here. And then he's gone. So it's like, okay, so now what do we do? Yeah, the best parts to me, unfortunately, like, didn't even really involve Black Adam. I mean, I guess him ripping the guy in piece, like apart, was pretty cool. But overall, I was like, I kept being, and then there was like a big part of like the final fight scene that he wasn't even involved in. I'm like, is he gonna jump in on this or no?
I know. The other thing that really bothers me too, and I know there's some suspension of disbelief, but like you have this ancient warrior who is from this foreign land.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Who wakes up from a 1,300 or 2,000 year slumber and automatically starts speaking English.
Yeah.
Like they show him speaking another language.
Yeah.
And then he immediately starts speaking English.
The King's English. He's got it down.
And he's like quipping. He's using like colloquialisms. Like he's not even just saying like basic English. Like he's full on speaking English.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that to me, like that. I don't like that. Like if he in the flashbacks, if he had been speaking English,
yeah,
then it makes sense. And then you don't have to like think about it. But like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It's also weird. So then like Task Force X is like, hey, this guy's got a lot of power, so we're gonna take him down. And then they're like, they capture him, but then he like gives himself up. Like this whole part, like it was kind of strange.
Well, I was saying, I wrote in my notes, they kind of like landfilled it from Beer Fest.
You can call
Where
me
the-
Lance, though.
Well, it's like, oh, so my son is Tet Adam, the champion, and then he dies. So call me Tet Adam.
Well, yeah, that was the old throw him off the scent a little bit because you're thinking it's a story about a kid who saw his dad die, but it's actually the other way around. It's a dad who saw his kid go.
Right.
So then, and his kid actually saves him. No, but then there's the scene where they're like, he's like, well, I don't want these powers anymore, basically. So they stick him in like a tube in like the water, right? And
So
they're
he
like,
can't say Shazam.
can't say Shazam. It's like, or it's like lop his head off. What was the plan there? They were just gonna leave him in that water
Because you
tube.
never know, you might need him. I don't know. Like I don't think that like
It seemed lame to me.
it was
like,
super lame. And like he's trying to fight.
yeah,
He's trying to fight these like Waller agents, and all he had to do was like take the thing down and say Shazam and then
Yeah.
fight them that way, but he didn't. And then he like tried
yeah.
he didn't say it as he was leaving the place and decided to like somehow almost drown himself.
Yeah.
Like that didn't make any sense.
No, I didn't get
Like
that.
say Shazam and then go. Like
Then
you
go-
know, like why
go
did
do
you
work.
do that? You make it like way overly dramatic. Like it was stupid.
Yeah, he struggled. He didn't do great. So then at the end, there was like he's now in charge of what was it? Kodok? Is that what it's called?
Kondak.
Kondak. So he's now like all set. But then Amanda Waller, just to try to tie the movies together, is like, hey, you have to stay there, and if you leave, like you're in trouble. And he's like, bring it. My
He's like,
question,
there's no one on earth that can stop me. And she says something like, well, there's people who aren't from here who can stop you.
so that's cool and all.
Yeah.
But what did I miss something? Why would Amanda Waller be able to tell Superman what to do?
I don't think she can. But that's like he's doing. I mean, that's like
Right?
she's trying to be like they're trying to position her as like the Nick Fury of the DCEU, which
Yeah, but she's more like the
Suicide. She's more like the
Fontaine lady. Like she's more like you'd be dealing with like the Thunderbolts rather than like the Avengers.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, if Superman's a nice enough guy where if you asked him and explained the situation, he'd be like, okay, I'll go talk to him.
Right. But like Amanda Waller has no control over
None.
Superman.
But I think of like one of the most underrated scenes of like Man of Steel. And I think about that when he's sitting in the police station and he's got the handcuffs on, and then he just like goes like this and like breaks them.
All right. Yeah.
And like you could have done that the whole time. He's like, yeah, but I don't want to do that. Like I just want to talk to you.
Like
You know?
sure I could.
But that was I'm so excited that Henry Cavill's back as Superman.
Yeah, they
and
need
just, like,
that.
and him just saying like we should talk.
Yeah.
Not like, I'm here to kick your ass or like whatever. Just like, no, we should talk about this.
So what I really need to see if Henry Cavill's legit back, and it sounds like he is, and he's left The Witcher, and so Liam Hemsworth's coming on The Witcher, and so maybe so we can do more Supermans. Is the story from the Suicide Squad where didn't like Bloodsport have like a run-in with Superman?
Yes.
Didn't he like fuck him up or something?
Yeah, I
And
believe so.
So we need those two to cross paths.
And it has to be like a very like tongue-in-cheek conversation to be like, I haven't been a while. You know what I mean? Like one of those conversations.
That bad.
Yeah.
So if Black Adam fought Superman, who would win?
Superman.
Yeah, probably Superman. I mean, Black Adam didn't show us shit in this movie to suggest that he would win. All right, what do you do now? So you have The Rock, who still is like the biggest movie star in the world. This movie was whatever. I mean, I guess it made enough money. The audience seems to like it, although it's tough to say on Roddy T's because like DC super fans can just kind of flood it. So I don't know if 89% is really fair. I also don't think it's 30. I don't think it's as bad as a 39% critic score either.
A little higher, but
so do you do a Black Adam 2, or do you wait to see what Shazam 2 does and then do Shazam Black Adam or Black Adam? I don't think you can call it this, obviously, but do you do Black Adam v Superman? Like, do you do a movie where like that's sort of like that's the plan rather than giving him his own movie again?
I think you add Shazam to. I mean, you add Black Adam to Shazam and kind of fold them in where it's necessary. I don't think you
probably.
And maybe there's a situation where he's coming into these powers a little bit more because he didn't have them for a very long time.
He's coming, all right.
I would love to see that too.
That if you're gonna
who shoots a further load, Superman or Black Adam?
I think it's Superman again. I think the answer is always going to be Superman. That's why I can't stand the guy. He's too perfect.
Just dumping huge loads.
Did you
quickly.
hear about Adesanya, the UFC fighter who was asked about how he was able to cut weight last time? And he
What did he
said he
say?
busted a huge nut. That's how he made weight. He was doing an interview with Taylor Rooks, and he
Had to lose a pound or two. So,
gross, dude. Like,
and we actually was funny because doing that I actually weighed more, and then afterward I weighed less.
you weigh more after? Like,
Soft. I weigh less soft.
don't ask. Don't ask. Yes, I'm with you on
the
the
other thing too. So it was so stupid how they ended the movie too with the whole like, Tet Adam, like that name's not going to work. Like, and then someone's like, "What should we call you?" And then he looks at them, and then the camera goes black. It's like,
yeah,
that's stupid.
Teth. Oh, I forgot to change my name on the
Teth Keefe.
I was gonna do Teth Keefe.
But it was so tough. Like, what should we call you now?
Yeah.
Oh, and the kid's skateboarding down the stairs. And
oh my god!
Oh, so stupid. The
bad
guy.
Yeah, do a Benihana. If you're gonna fucking put a skateboard on the screen,
like anyone can ollie, you poser.
Isn't that Chekhov's theory? If you put a skateboard on the screen, you better do a Benihana.
The other thing I hate too in movies is when they introduce the bad guy in the last like 10 minutes of the movie.
And he sucks. And
he sucks. He sucks.
I think that's so that should be a test for all like comic movies going forward. Is at the end of the movie, if you ask the audience, what was the name of the main villain? And they go, oh, I don't know. Start over.
Like Shazam. I have no idea who the bad guy was in Shazam. There was a bunch of them.
Good point. And they actually pulled it off where it was still an entertaining movie, but that's probably going to separate it from being a fucking kick-ass movie. Like, oh, I don't know.
Were those the same demons? Were those the same demons? In Shazam, is it like we're in the crown?
Oh yeah, it must have been some of those guys.
Yeah.
So they got to obviously connect those. So the next, DCEU movie is Shazam: Fury of the Gods. It comes out March 17th, so St. Paddy's Day. Any chance Black Adam is in this?
Yes.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Because they haven't mentioned that he's in it yet.
No.
He should be.
He should be.
All right. Hopefully he's in there. They got to at least reference him at the very least. Then we get The Flash in June. And I know that's an
maybe
S storm. Yeah. That movie's a pig fuck.
Yeah, sure is.
Blue Beetle is scheduled for August 18th.
Great.
I actually liked using him in Injustice too.
Well, but it's also the kid from Cobra Kai. So
yeah,
I'm excited to see. Yeah, he could be good.
And then Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is scheduled for next Christmas. So the DCEU, or whatever they're calling it now, has 4 movies scheduled for 2023. Now, 2 of these movies were also scheduled for 2022. So
sure were. And do you think they're punting him because of the James Gunn thing?
Yeah, it could. Possibly.
And doing some reshoots that he can all right, let's fix this because this is not going to work. And
gotta be partially James Gunn. I don't know the timeline of it, but I can't imagine Ezra Miller helped.
That doesn't help. No,
I don't think that was a big boost for them. I don't know if they'd love.
I don't know if they that
to happen.
Nope.
This fuck. Anything else on Black Adam? Which again, Davey's giving a 3. I'm giving it a 3.5. It was certainly a movie.
It was a movie that was made.
And we saw it. 2 hours and 5 minutes. All right. Yeah, let us know on Twitter and Instagram at Dork Podcast, or you can email us dorkpodcast@gmail.com.
Pick of the bomb.
Pick of the bomb. Pick of the bomb.
Pick of the bomb.
All right, Ryan, a kick, receive, defer, or you may choose at this time to defend a goal.
I will take the ball and run with it this time because, as always, we are in the second week of Movember this week, and we are well on our way. Thanks to some lovely people who I will say by name right now who donated graciously, including the Mac and Goo podcast. Andrew in the chat. We got Andrew in the chat right now. Kevin, Rico Suave, who I'm glad you're still here, still with us. Mike Baranowski, who's always been a contributor. And again, Nate Bedard coming through with $1,000 donation. I cannot.
Holy smokes, dude.
Every
Awesome.
year we do this. There's always people who do go well above and beyond. And Nate, thank
That's
you so
crazy.
much.
That's
Yeah,
awesome,
thank you
man.
so much for that. And my goal every year is like $2,000, and we are well over halfway there. So
Awesome. We got time. We got time.
we
We'll
got
get
plenty
there.
of time.
Good.
And Andrew especially, thank you for your note along with it, and I'm glad you're doing better. So thank you to the entire Dork Podcast shared Gooniverse community. You guys are unbelievable. Thank you so much.
Yeah, go to Davey's Twitter at rvond, and he's got the link right there, and you can just click on that. Super easy to donate if you can, and if you can't, retweet it, share it, pass that along, and if anybody else out there can help out, it's great.
Grow your own mustache.
Grow stash.
Create your own funds. More
Grow
for
stash,
everybody.
you little prick. Go ahead.
You little bastards.
You can't. You can't grow a mustache.
You won't do it.
Fucker.
What are you, Sidney Crosby? You can't grow a mustache.
You can't grow a mustache. You know what show, Ryan, nobody's talking about, and it only has 2 episodes left. The Walking Dead. I'm all caught up. I'm caught up, and I'm caught up, and I'm caught up. There's 2 episodes left in the whole series. I don't even know how many episodes it's been. I know it's 11 seasons, but it's got to be like hundreds of episodes. It's been crazy.
And I will tell you this too. If you're not watching Andor,
oh, that's the other one.
You're fucking up, man. Andor's good.
So I'm only 4 episodes in. I've heard it's great. I'm trying to ignore everything on Twitter. Everybody's hyping it up. We've already penciled it in. It is going to be a standalone episode. So if you haven't started it yet, everyone's saying it's great. The first couple episodes to me were a little slow, but by all accounts, it gets really good. So watch the show. I think it's 12 episodes in total. So the first Dork we do after Thanksgiving will be Andor. Next week, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. It comes out tonight.
Yep.
Not sure which day I'm going to see it just yet, but I am very much looking forward to this. And I'll tell you, I think there's been a lot of solid movies this year, but Black Panther has a chance. Again, I have no idea. I haven't read any reviews, anything. Has a chance to be movie of the year. Does it not?
It does. And the limited stuff I've read about it, I think Coogler did what he could and did a really good job with this. So I'm excited. I'm excited about it. Yeah.
All right. So again, that episode will be TBD, but that will be our next episode that we do. So Davey's moving, so it may not be Monday night, but we'll let you know. So that's why I want to keep it locked, cocked, and loaded to at Dork Podcast on Twitter. We will let you know when that is, but that'll be the next one. What else is there? Anything else I'm forgetting? Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Andor. What other TV shows am I watching?
I started watching there's a Netflix series called I Am a Stalker.
Oh,
so it's the same people who made like I'm a Serial Killer. And they actually talk. And it's kind of fucked up because I was thinking about it. It's like, what if people, like if you interviewed murderers, but they're like, their victims were still alive and could talk. And that's kind of what this is like. Like, so, and it's people who are like very serious, like aggravated stalking charges.
God damn.
And it's talking to their victim, the survivors of these things, and talking to family members and talk like how this stuff happens. Yeah. And it's fascinating to me. And it's super dark and like it's not something for the lighthearted, but it's
no.
It's just fascinating to me, like how people get there,
Oh, speaking of Netflix, this was actually my real pick of the pod. I always forget the goddamn thing because I never write it down, and I'm like, oh, I'll remember it. I never do. My for sure pick of the pod, Inside Man. Not the Denzel film, which was also a nice film. Clive Owen and Jodie Foster. That was a nice film.
There's a line from that movie that I use all the time. I use it all the time when I teach it. I use it all the time when I'm speaking to people. Not to get sidetracked.
Let me guess what the quote is from Inside Man.
Yes.
We were talking about and thinking about doing a worldwide documentary because there is cosplaying across the United States and the globe. Even though we live in Massachusetts and it's kind of a Puritan town, there are cosplayers that are in Germany, cosplayers that are in France, cosplayers in England. And, even in Germany, kids will dress up in cosplay and go to classes in cosplay.
Is that it?
Close. Okay. The line where Clive Owen says, I choose my words carefully and I do not like repeating myself.
Yeah, that's a straightforward, good line.
So I say what I'm
No,
like, I don't
but
want to repeat myself. Yeah.
Inside Man, same name somehow. I don't know how they
Mhm.
do that. I don't know how you're allowed to name the same TV show after the movie or whatever. But David Tennant is his name.
Yes.
Any David Tennant show you have to watch. So it's BBC show. He is the best. So Broadchurch is one of the greatest TV whodunits like of all time.
And he was the Purple Man in Jessica Jones. He was a Doctor Who.
He was Doctor Who. He was in the Good Omens show.
Yes.
Which I didn't watch all of, but he was in that. But this show, Inside Man, quick rip. It's only 4 episodes. So have you seen this one yet?
Is it like Sherlock? Is each episode like 2 hours long?
No, each episode's like an hour.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so you can rip through it, but holy smokes, was it good. He plays a reverend in this, but it's great.
All right, I gotta watch it.
Stanley Tucci's in it. So the
Tooch.
So it sounds like a complete ripoff, but basically, I don't even think this is a spoiler. Actually, what's the premise even say? Well, basically, it's not full on like Hannibal Lecter style, but basically, there's a guy who's in prison for killing his wife, and people go to him to help solve crimes.
Oh yeah, one of those deals.
So I know that's like a basic fucking story, but they do it in a different way. And there's some pretty cool characters in it. Dylan Baker's also in it, the guy who played the Lizard in The Amazing Spider-Man. He's in a bunch of other stuff too. Remember Dylan Baker in like The Amazing Spider-Man with Garfield, the guy who played.
I thought that was Reese Infans.
No, Dylan. Oh no. Dylan Baker played in the other Spider-Man movie.
Oh, he was in the Maguires. He played Dr. Connors in the Maguire one.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
They never actually made him the Lizard, but he would have been the Lizard. He was Dr. Connors.
They talked to him, and
Yes. Yeah. So he's also in this show. Maybe a couple other people you'd recognize, but I highly recommend Inside Man. That's my pick. All right, Roddy. That'll do it for us. Again, rate, review, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast, but specifically Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, so you can watch these episodes as well as listen to them, depending on how you kill time at work or driving to work or whatever else. Right, you don't give a shit about anything, do you?
What'd you say?
I said you don't give a shit about anything, do you?
Not really.